to the best YouTube channel ever. In today's video, we're going to talk about fitness for men over 6 feet tall. And excuse me not having my microphone, I need to charge it, so it's currently charging. So now you may be wondering, why am I making this video? Well, a lot of my peers are men, but my male peers, or friends I should say, are pretty tall. So I seem to have a knack for, always getting along with tall people. I don't know what it is, 4'11.75. Usually men are over 6 feet tall. And so, we always kind of vibe. So I was a trainer in a big box gym. Some of my clients were actually really tall men. And I remember one guy, he was a Greek guy. He was a car salesman and he's a really big guy. He's like 6 feet tall. And he chose me to be his trainer probably because he was attractive, but also because I'm smart, okay? And I gave him a good plan that worked for him and that he saw change, okay? That was very important. And, obviously he stuck with me. So his name was Nico. There are a couple strategies, a couple tips that I think will help you. And then if you are interested, you can always check out my website below. I made a full out program specifically for tall men, lifting for tall men. You can get that program at my website, on my website down below. So feel free to check that out. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. See that, I'm gonna show you my fit and my current look. It's currently around 9 p.m. right now. We're just finishing up the day and I have a decent pump going. So legs are starting to come in, you know what I'm saying? All right. I got my shoes that a client got me, which is really nice. I got the hamstrings, got the abdominals going, you know what I'm saying? Got the bicep pump going because I just ate. And all right, so that's enough flexing for the internet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's go ahead and jump right in. A lot of guys in the world of powerlifting, for example, people in the industry well over 6 feet tall. A lot of strong men are 6 feet tall and up. Some are even like 6'4", 6'5". So they have like Viking genes or something. Number one is to do seal rows. A lot of the machines are typically not catered to men over 6 feet tall. And it's actually not even catered to like people my height, because sometimes I have to adjust myself on certain machines, again, because I'm only like 4'11.75. So sometimes the machines aren't really suited for me. You are on the opposite side, right? You are super tall, then you also probably have to, do that for yourself. And a perfect example is a lat pull down. They may have a hard time pulling all the way down because what happens is their arms are so long that they actually only can stop right here. So they're not getting the full extension of the lat pull down. So what you can do if you are a tall man and you want to do the lat pull down is you're going to let your butt come off the seat. So as you do your full extension, you're going to kind of come off the seat and then pull all the way down. That way you get the full extension of the machine, okay? But if you don't want to do lat pull down, then you can do seal row. All right, so a seal row is where you're actually laying down on a bench and you're gonna lay down on a bench and then you're gonna row to your chest. Obviously, I don't have that bench here with me right now. So only certain gyms have it, and typically a corporate gym is not gonna have it. But if you can do that on like a bench or on a like two-handed rows with a barbell or with a dumbbell on a bench, you're gonna be able to get that full extension, and you're not only going to get the weight that's going to resist you, but you can also, you also have gravity because you're literally laying down on a bench and doing a row. Okay, so my next tip are landmine presses and rows. So that's number 2, landmine presses and rows. So landmine is, if you go to the gym, you have a barbell, right? You attach to the thing, you know what I'm saying, chicken wing, and you're gonna have the lever, or the barbell, I should say, at an angle. So you have the barbell at an angle, so it's coming down, and you can do shoulder presses. I like this a lot if you are tall, because now you can adjust it for any height, even if you're 8 feet tall. Okay, if you're like a giant, that's perfectly fine. Short girls like giants, and you can press overhead now at an angle. You see, because if you use a machine at the gym, you're gonna run into the same problem as the lat pull it out. You're going to have an issue with pushing all the way up because certain machines at certain gyms have the stack where they are going to stop at a certain point when you press all the way up. And depending on how really long your arms are, that may be an issue for you. So another option that you can do are landmine rows and landmine presses. All right, the next exercise, and this is for legs, are belted squat and trap bar deadlift. Usually people say that when you're super tall, you don't want to deadlift, or it's just in your, like, not in your favor. And I think people just make excuses if you're really tall to just not deadlift. You can absolutely deadlift if you're 6 feet tall. You just have to be smart about it. You have to be a little bit more strategic, put a little bit more emphasis on your glute training, your hamstring training, so that your back doesn't take over of your butt, okay? Because when you're 6 feet tall and you're going to pick something off, you're gonna pick dead weight from the floor, you are kind of already in a really awkward position. And so, but you can fight that with training the right muscle groups to make sure they're firing correctly. That's the thing. You see people getting hurt or, you know, saying this and that, you shouldn't be doing it if you're 6 feet tall or whatever. And that's false, okay? There's a wonderful myriad of reasons to deadlift. It's probably the best exercise for your back. Lift. You could do a trap bar deadlift. Technically it's kind of a squat, but it's still a deadlift. And if you don't want to do trap bar deadlift, this is my order. Trap bar deadlift, if not trap bar, then conventional. If not conventional, then sumo. Usually sumo is for people that are really strong on the hips. So that's somebody like yourself. Usually the taller you are, the hips are typically not the main strong point, just because of, I don't know, it's just kind of a pattern that I've noticed among like people that are really tall. Usually the shorter you are, the stronger your hips. The taller you are, not so much, unless you are like training for strongman and you actively train a lot of the muscle groups around the hips. And the last exercise are belted squats. It's where you attach a belt on like the machine and you attach a belt here and you're going to squat, and that will really target the butt and the hamstring, the quads. They can still work their legs and they can go all the way down, because the beauty of it is you can adjust it because it's a belt, it's not a machine. All right, my last tip is working on ankle mobility. And because when you are super tall, typically you're going to probably have some gait issues going on. I noticed that's just something, an observation that I made. Your walking patterns, basically. And so we want to work on that by training the ankles and the calves. Okay, those are really important if you're super tall, because if you're super tall, you may drag your feet. I know I noticed some people do that, not all the time, but it's just, again, just an observation that I made. So I would emphasize ankle mobility and hip mobility, okay? Because again, usually taller people, hips are kind of something that, you know, not really thought about until it's kind of too late. So we want to prehab that and think ahead, right? Be proactive and address that before something happens. Investing in somebody that can help you with hip mobility and ankle mobility, I think, are very important. All right, so those are a couple strategies for men that are 6 feet plus tall when it comes to fitness. It doesn't have to be boring. You can get creative. And again, you have advantages as a tall person when it comes to fitness. You just have to think outside the box and make sure you're working with the right person that has a positive attitude and that knows what they're talking about. Thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next video.